IVM.
We would like to thank Storytel for sponsoring this show. Storytel is an audiobook platform that lets you hear hundreds of thousands of stories on your mobile, on your PC, wherever you prefer. You can get a great deal by signing up at the URL storytel.com/IVM. So this week I'm going to recommend Watership Down by Richard Adams. It's a quirky book. It's the story of a group of rabbits, how they face the destruction of their den and subsequent escape and journey to their new home. It's funny, it's heartwarming, really cool. It's basically Exodus with rabbits. I think you'll enjoy it if you haven't read it before. And let me tell you a little bit about where you can go get it. Go get it at storytel.com/IVM. And you know what will happen? If you go and sign up on this link, you'll get your first month for just 99 rupees a month instead of $299. That's $200 off. Go get this book right now. You'll really enjoy it.
Hello and welcome to an episode of Football Shootball. I'm struggling to find the number because I've been hearing, Sivaram, vicious rumors that we skipped last week. Yeah. Even our producers, IVM Podcast, put out a post saying that Football Shootball's on a break this week. I was like, what? We weren't on a break this week. We were the three on Edges and Sledges. I mean, I know our names were different. It was probably DJ and Varun and I forget the third guy's name. I apologize. But it was the three of us in place of them reviewing the excellent test match from the Gabba. So if anyone thinks Football Shootball took a break from podcasting for a week, you are highly mistaken. We are basically the football version of what Edges and Sledges is, and sometimes we do cricket better than they do as well. So there you go. If you want to catch us, we were live on YouTube also, I must add, at a certain point during the past week. So go on the IVM YouTube channel. You'll see the three of us. We look slightly different from what we do here, but it is the three of us. I'm DJ. Because the name sounds the coolest, yeah?
I was going to call you Ashwin and we're going to rename this Let Me Tell You a Kutti Story and then get it over with.
India's next sports broadcasting star. Yeah.
If you're lying, just lie. Like don't do 50 lakh ka chori, na? Do 7,000 crore ka chori. So then they don't catch you. Then you get PR also. Then you can go to UK also. And then, good things happen if you do that level ka chori. This 50-60 lakh ka chori don't do.
Fine.
You go to Parliament also.
Baba, I said 7,000 crore. That's it. I'm limiting it. I'm not saying take the country with you.
Yeah. Okay. So, but we're back on Football Shootball after a week's break. A week's break simply because the cricket was far more exciting. And to be honest, the three of us, Sapre, Siva and I were talking just before we came on air, and we can't remember for Jack Beep what happened during the previous couple of weeks. All we know is an excellent stat about Liverpool that Sivaram will share with you just as we go into a break. Before that, we're calling this episode Kalyug because I don't know what Kalyug means, but it has Kal in it, which is a reference to tomorrow. And for the next 2 weeks, every day you'll be looking forward to the next day because there is non-stop football, midweek a separate game week, weekend a separate game week. So it's jam-packed. What we'll be doing today is previewing all those games for you. And Sivaram, our resident FPL expert, who's soon to be usurped by Sapre, will give you the picks that you need to follow for the next 4 game weeks. See you on the other side. Sivaram, the Liverpool stat.
We haven't spoken about this at all. Salah's FPL points in the last 5 game weeks are a total of 2, 5, 7, 10, 11 points. Wow. I mean, there are more players on the loan army for Chelsea. Anyway, with that, we'll see you right back after this break.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great, awesome, amazing week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Would like to thank the sponsor on the network this week, Storytel and the Whole Truth Foods. We have a new show out this week, Candid Kanan with Siddharth Kanan. Sid K is a well-known RJ. He has an incredible show with some of the most amazing Bollywood celebrities. As part of the first week's episode, we're releasing 5 episodes at one time, so you can get your fill of Sid. You can hear him talk to Varun Dhawan, Anil Kapoor, Anurag Kashyap, Bhumi Pednekar, and a whole lot more. This week on the Edges and Sledges podcast with Varun, DJ, and Ashwin, hear them talk about the historic victory that India achieved at Gabba. Maruk Inayat had an amazing talk with Gul Panag. They spoke about the farmer protests and why Bollywood celebs are acting the way that they are. And finally, Shunya 1 is back this week. Shiladitya and me talked to Anirudh Singla from Pepper Content. We have a great lineup of guests coming up in the coming weeks, including Deepak Abbott, the co-founder of India Gold. Definitely check that out. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Okay, I guess I'm bringing us back from the break. The other stat that I have for Liverpool is that they've now gone over 6 hours of Premier League football without a goal. I remember Karthik saying they are probably the best team in the world right now, not just the league, including Champions League, club championship. What is that? World Cup, club World Cup. So whatever they play on the side. They were supposed to be the best club in the world. What has happened? I mean, Aubameyang has scored more goals than them in the last
It's a bit shocking, no? When you shared that, even I was shocked because you assume, okay, Salah is something that I agree with you. I think I've mentioned it before that he's not been at his best. So when you're saying his FPL points are only 2 and a peanut decimal, it really makes sense. But for the fact that Liverpool haven't scored a goal, now that is surprising in this entire calendar year, although we're not even a month in. But I think a lot of games have happened in this season. And yeah, it is a bit of a shock. Their title challenge is being derailed.
I think what's shocking even more is the last goal they scored was against West Bromwich Albion, which was a 1-1 draw, right? That was game week 15. After that, they drew 0-0 against Newcastle, who everyone have dispatched very peacefully, including Arsenal. Now, that's how bad it is. Southampton, I think they lost 1-0. United, we saw what happened, 0-0, choked them out of the game. Not like United did much, but they did do well, not conceding. And Burnley, 83rd minute penalty they gave away to Ashley Barnes, who dispatched it again. I mean, it's not like they've played fantastic teams.
Oh my God, they lost. Yeah, that should have been the lead to the episode. What are you guys doing?
No, they've lost before also in the league, right? So it's not like Watford last year.
This was the one where they lost at home after a gazillion months.
Yeah, 3 years and some months.
Right.
But, if you look at the list of teams they've not scored against or last scored against, West Brom, not even one standout team except maybe Southampton. So that's the only input I have. United were...
fair enough. And we haven't let Sapre talk so far, but he's messaging me on the side, okay? You know what he's telling me, Sivaram? He's like, listen, Karthik, I know you said Kalyug, but it does not mean what you actually meant for the title of the episode, but we can still call it Kalyug because that's what's happening to Liverpool currently.
Nice.
It's true. Also, Kal could mean yesterday. So we can actually talk about what really happened in the past couple of weeks, and especially with the form of Salah being not in form. I'm very happy. As a United fan, double happiness. Top of the league, albeit one game played more than City, but Liverpool's going down. So I'm ecstatic. I don't know. Maybe I don't sound as ecstatic because I'm just really tired right now. It's so much of football and the stupid FA Cup that is happening. I don't know why.
Just to sidetrack here, isn't there an excellent game tonight? Our listeners will probably have watched it before listening. You'll obviously have. But what is it, Sapre? Liverpool versus United, right? Like it's a rerun of that shambles that we saw last week.
Yeah, we just had a preview last week. So, really can't call it a game that everybody should be looking forward to. But more, I think more pressure on Liverpool. I think it's more about ego now. But who cares? They can't score. At this point, whether they face United or they face some Scunthorpe or whatever other team, Scunthorpe or Barnet FC, whoever else, they're going to have a problem to score.
It'll be really funny that by the time this episode comes out and Liverpool dispatch United for some 5-0.
Yeah.
एक तो तुम्हारा Kalyug का discussion ना, like we should start a different podcast. Like there's the seen and the unseen. We should call it the heard and the unheard. This will be under the unheard part, this podcast, because no one will listen to it after this Kalyug discussion.
No, United are going to win the match. I don't know whether they're going to win the FA Cup, but they're going to definitely beat Liverpool and march towards yet another semi-final. We like to lose in the semi-finals, not before that. That's
what happens? Group stage is also Champions League. What happens if it ends 0-0? Do they go into penalties or is there like a replay?
No penalties.
They want to wrap it up now. Enough of that FA Cup replay stuff.
Thank God for COVID. Yeah, that's the only good thing about what COVID has brought is.
And I think they've gotten so bored and irritated now that I think they've scrapped extra time also. I'm not sure, but in some of the cups, I think maybe the League Cup it was, they just said no need to play that extra 30 minutes only, let's just play penalties.
Fair enough. It's more exciting, right? It's like the super over. You want to see super over, right? So it's like exactly like that. You get to watch that after 90 minutes of United and Liverpool playing 0-0. At least there is something for everyone who stuck till the end.
Yeah, no, that is fair. But then where are, in all seriousness, Sivaram, where do Liverpool go from here? If you look at the table, currently it's the two City clubs. Leicester took the lead for a bit during this one of the periods of time during this last match day. Liverpool are fourth, which is not bad, but they have played a game more than both Manchester clubs in 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I would never say fourth is bad. So, I mean, Arsenal are 10th right now, so I would take it any day. The thing is, with Liverpool, they play Tottenham next, away from home. So, that might be something that they want to like show up for. Because if they get dispatched again by Son and Kane, I mean, I think that's the end of the line. Because after that, against West Ham might seem easy on paper. It's not. And we've seen Antonio hit form again. He scored twice in the last 2 games. Then there's Brighton. Brighton, maybe, again, they're up and down. But after that, they're playing City, they're playing Leeds.
Look at this bias in his tone. He's giving Brighton and West Ham more hope against Liverpool than Tottenham. Huh?
I mean, I am an Arsenal fan. I started with that. But the pivotal thing is that in game week 23, they play City. Right? Now, I think City are, in whatever way or form, they're resurging. Without out-and-out striker. I was surprised that I haven't heard any rumors in the January transfer window for a striker, because we've known for a long time that Jesus is not going to be the next Aguero. Ferran Torres looks like more like the next Aguero than Jesus. So I'm surprised. Sapre, what do you think? Do you think they need a striker?
Liverpool, I don't think they need a striker.
See, this is why you should listen to the podcast as we speak. Because otherwise it becomes a little problematic.
I know. Kalyug. Gore Kalyug. No, City definitely need a striker. I think they should just get Haaland to City, man. He's such a fantastic striker, and to play amongst the group of players that City have, it'll be phenomenal to watch him.
अरे United हो ठीक है, लेकिन थोड़ा realistically तो बोलो January transfer window में बोल रहा हूँ.
No, January transfer window he's not going to buy anybody. I don't know. Aguero just been very unlucky with injuries and with COVID. He just can't sit at home for.
But can I say something about this striker business? When Pep was at Barcelona in his best years, he played without a striker. Yeah, when he had one in David Villa, he put him on the left, he put Messi center. He took A2, played him on the wing, and then sent him packing to Inter Milan. Zlatan failed under Pep Guardiola. He loves playing without a striker. I think Pep is enjoying this fact that there's no Aguero or Jesus to consider. And let me play my Torreses and my KDBs who's injured now, but let me play Gundogan also as a false nine. I think he really loves that challenge. So he's not going to go and buy anybody for what.
Yeah, but there's just too much of a challenge right now with injuries and COVID, etc. And they've lost the
don't they have season. That kid, that Rory Delap's son, who played in the
Liam Delap?
He's a striker. So if push comes to shove, maybe he gets a chance.
I think the only player who is capable in the City team to play as striker right now is Cancelo. He can play anywhere along the pitch. Might as well play him as a striker.
So what were you saying yesterday? You all were having a discussion on WhatsApp about Cancelo. It just completely went over my head. But some of it made some sense. Like make him like a playmaker, like in the Trent mold, yeah?
But he's anyway playing in that position. So might as well just let him do the role. Because they have enough and more defenders, right? Like Stones scored for the first time in his life for City and scored 2 at the same go. I mean, talk about a defense.
Yeah, I think Cancelo's played on both the flanks. He's played in the midfield. There's one game, I think, against Chelsea where God knows where he was playing, but every third touch was his probably. So he's more than capable of playing anywhere, and he's on fire. He's playing fantastic this season. Also, yesterday it was Foden's goal, but in that FA Cup match. But it was Cancelo who managed to open up the defense.
And he came on very late, right? I forget the name. Cheltenham. I'm butchering the name, but apologize. Cheltenham Town, yeah. But they were leading until I think the 88th minute, and then Foden and Jesus went and won the game for City.
And then Torres also, I think, scored the third goal.
Yeah, but then it was, you're right, Cancelo came on in around the 70th minute and he completely turned the game on his head.
Which also means Foden will be rested. But what we're actually forgetting is that United might be top with 19 games, right at the halfway mark. City have a game in hand, so they might as well just go top. It looks like it's City's lead.
Yeah, but on that note, I think it's only fair if you're looking back at what happened over the past 10 days. So to comment about United, because every time we think they'll stumble, most recent case in point. I mean, when you're listening to this, Liverpool may have been the most recent case in point. But when we're recording this, it was Fulham, where Fulham took the lead, played some decent football. Without a striker to finish the goals, United somehow went and won that through a mistake and a wonder goal by Paul Pogba. So fair play, Sapre. I mean, you have to admit now finally that United are doing a fair job of
because they beat Fulham, Karthik now agrees that
Correct. We finally have Karthik to validate.
I think it's a biased litmus test, but okay, for the sake of this podcast.
Ole in his presentation to a new contract is saying, but Karthik Iyer from Football Shootball / Edges and Sledges has also commented on how good we did his job against Fulham.
OGS starts his slide with, let me tell you a Kutti story.
No, but I like the double game week. I think a lot of interesting games. Not just from an FPL standpoint, from a league standing standpoint, not at the bottom, of course, Fulham.
No, it's fine for us as well because you lose, you forget about it. You lose the next one later, so then you're more bothered with that. So you don't really drown in your sorrows. You keep trying and swimming up.
It depends on the team you kind of support.
Yeah. Again,
so you and I are coming from very different places, and Siva is nowhere. He's neither there nor here.
Acha, the lip is back now because we're second or first in the table.
It's fine, Karthik. These people, they come up and then they talk a lot and then they go back. This is why it's called Kalyug. Let them have their 2 seconds of fame. They'll go back to where they belong. I predict that Arsenal will finish above United.
Wow.
But I'm saying let's talk about the club that Shiva actually thought will win the league is Chelsea. Right? I mean, where is that going now?
So as we're recording this, guys, Kepa is playing in goal, and poor chap has made another mistake in the FA Cup. I don't even know the name of Chelsea. I'm trying to look back to find out, but I don't know the name of Chelsea's opponent. And I think they'll probably win it, but he's gone and made another error in his first start in Eons.
They won 3-1. Luton down.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Warner missed a penalty.
Oh man! So even when they win, bad things seem to be happening to Chelsea.
To Warner specifically.
Yeah. He hasn't scored in ages. I mean, I was talking with a friend about this the other day that I'm a big fan of the Bundesliga, German football. But if you have to think realistically, if Werner and Havertz were successes, it shows well on the league that they're coming from. The last, I feel, pure success that's come from the Bundesliga as a direct transfer, not like an Ozil who had a skip step
to Madrid.
Not like that, but as a direct has to be Son and Fabinho, who are now 2015. So it's been a while since the Bundesliga has had a good export to the Premier League.
Oh, weren't you really excited about when Sebastian Haller came from?
I wasn't. I wasn't that much, but I thought he'll do better. And I honestly don't think he did that badly. Not as badly as Joelinton, man, who also came from the Bundesliga, by the way.
That's true. But as we are speaking, Fulham are losing 1-0
to Burnley. I mean, but it's in the cup. As long as we beat Burnley in the league, I'm happy.
So I think let's look at. I mean, the fixtures for the next 4-5 game weeks. I think all teams, the top teams are playing each other. I think Spurs playing Liverpool, City playing United. Chelsea is also playing Wolves, and then Chelsea is playing Burnley, and I think Chelsea is then playing Spurs.
He said top teams are involved, and he forgot to mention Arsenal versus United. Just to remember
that. Arsenal versus United is happening on the 30th of Jan. Sapre, where are you that day?
No, what I meant is the top 4 or 6 teams amongst themselves.
But after that game, you'll be out of the top 4 now. So then what will happen?
I don't think that's going to happen. But let's see. There's Southampton coming up next for you. Who we saw what you guys managed to do.
You had bigger concerns before the United match.
No, but our top players didn't play. Like, it was a beastling side, so I'm not too worried about that. What Sapre should be worried about is the last time United played Arsenal. What happened, Sapre?
I like this new thing, right? When Arsenal players say our top players didn't play, they mean Saka and Tierney, and not Aubameyang anymore.
Aubameyang also didn't play. He scored 2. What are you talking about?
But here's the thing, right? Isn't there another match against Southampton coming up? The next match?
Yeah, that's in the league, yeah. That's on the 26th of Jan. So on Republic Day, we will see... I mean, actual points come through.
Or again to sidetrack, is Republic Day a dry day?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Okay. So we're recording 2 days before, so it's fine.
It's fine. We still have time.
Okay, moving on. Did you all forget the track that we were going on? We're talking about Sapre, focus. Manchester United versus Arsenal. He's given you enough lip. He's saying United are going to be out of the top 4.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into this argument with Sivaram and his club. 3 games they win on the trot. And everyone thinks that Arteta was the man who was supposed to lead this team, etc., etc. Give it 2 more game weeks. The Arsenal fans will come back to reality where they have to fight amongst the Leeds and West Ham and Everton also. Everton also are 5th right now in the league. Aston Villa is doing better. Southampton is ahead of you. I'm sure now there's going to be a bigger gap. So I don't really want to get into what Arsenal can do, which they can nothing, Arsenal cannot
Which
do.
they can do nothing. Okay, good commentary, Sapre. Maybe you should do a podcast.
So maybe Sapre is not able.
Talks about Arsenal,
maybe he's not able to get his words right currently.
Yeah, just like his balls.
But to be fair to him, I have his words on the WhatsApp group, and I'm going to read it verbatim. I envy Arsenal fans. They don't show a hint of disappointment when their team loses, which I thought was pretty funny. Sorry.
I mean, we are on video. Look at Sivaram's face.
No, I mean, we're talking about someone who qualified for the Champions League and are back in the Europa, right? I mean, stuff it. So it's not really going anywhere, especially with Ole, because you've been talking about Ole at the wheel for the last 3 years. Now he's finally actually come together is when you're flying high. Pogba, your biggest flop, has finally scored 2, and look at your face. I mean, I am not someone who should bring this up. You should be shutting it up.
And I'm going to make your argument for you. He scored 2. One of it came against Fulham.
I mean, I didn't want to go there, but ठीक है, जाने दो. अभी जीत दो पहले लिवरपूल से तो जीत जाओ आज रात को, फिर आगे की बाद में सोच लेना. तुम सही बोलते हो. Wait for what happens tonight and then we'll see what happens after.
And before that also, to be fair, they also have a match against very lowly Sheffield United to Manchester United.
I hope they can scrape through without a goal because I have United players in my FPL team.
Oh, but you know, when United were on that trajectory and they were playing Sheffield, and Sheffield hadn't scored for a while, and they scored the first goal against United in that match.
Yeah, I was hoping Fulham also won't score, but you are the Danveer Karn, na?
But to be fair, that was a good goal. Give Fulham some credit. Lookman, he looked when he was... forget it.
Yeah, that is... I mean, I think that's the biggest run of that joke that has ever happened anywhere.
but let's be fair. Like United do have, apart from Sheffield, they play Arsenal, they play Everton as well. So it's not like they have an easy, and Southampton in the next 4 fixtures. So this could prove to be pivotal when it comes to whether Sivaram is right about. Let's say they won't leave the top 4 by the time they play Arsenal, but it could happen in the 2 subsequent matches. Yeah, Sapre?
They're not going to get out of the top 4. The worst that will happen is they'll not be the league leaders anymore. That's the worst that will happen. They're going to still be...
league leaders, you won't be the moment City play the next game. So don't stress. What about the Europa League, Sapre? You're going to play Real Sociedad. Any memories of what has happened?
God knows, yeah. I mean, I don't even want to get into Europa League. The luck that we've had last season. No. We're focusing on the league this time. Europa, no. League this time. We'll win the league only. We don't want to win Europa. That's Mourinho's United. We'll win the Europa League and then qualify for Europe the next. None of that shit anymore. Let Spurs figure that out. They're anyways outside the top 4.
Hey, Karthik, what happened to the discussion that we said Pool will be... finally, Pool will get its leader, captain, legend take over Gerrard, who's leading, I think, by 2,000 points in his league.
Yeah. He's doing really well. I mean, the Rangers are... So Celtic were actually going for their 10th straight league title, like Juventus were in Serie A. Juventus are doing pretty poorly there. Celtic are doing even worse here. So Rangers have a massive lead. Rangers is, of course, managed by Steven Gerrard. And interestingly, Steven Gerrard's contract at Rangers and Jurgen Klopp contract at Liverpool expire at the exact same year. So,
oh wow, yeah. How many years?
I think 2023, if I'm not mistaken, or 24, 23 or 24.
Relegate away to usse pehle?
No. Liverpool are not that bad. They only do that to their women's side. Burn.
Oh my God.
And that's a comment on Liverpool, who are such a good team, and they can't invest a penny in their women's side. They just let it fall apart. Whereas I'll give credit to United. For the first time, United, I think, played, was it City or Chelsea in the Women's Super League? And finally, United were taken away from top spot. This is a team that's only been functional for 3 seasons. So well done, United, to at least make an effort in their women's division, unlike the champions of England. Yeah.
So does, out of the 4 or 5, I mean, disregarding Klopp, so Gerrard, Ole, Parker, Arteta,
I'll put you there. Would you consider Gerrard in this kind? Because he's doing a proper 5 years apprenticeship at another club. It's not like Lampard did 1 season.
That's what I meant. That's what I was getting to. Like, I mean, Arteta has internship. I mean, you're calling it an apprenticeship for Gerrard is nice because he's still leading the club. He's not, bringing the plans from the, he's not printing out the deck. So Arteta has been under Pep, right? So 0 actual on-the-job experience. Ole was at what? Brondby.
Molde and Cardiff. But Ole also, I can give him, like, he was there, he won a few league titles wherever it was. It wasn't. But at least he has managerial experience, like you say. He's been there giving instructions. Not as Sapre puts Arteta's role as the cone carrier.
But he is. I mean, there's no disregarding that. He has no prior experience. I mean, if you were to apply for a role at any position in a corporate job, and you come back with, मैंने एक internship किया है, I mean, that might actually cut it, but I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. But eventually, like, ex-players managing their former teams versus actual out-and-out managers who, study the game and then eventually become managers. It feels like it's shifting away, especially in the top six.
I'll tell you what. I think with Gerrard doing good in Scotland, it's not necessary he should come back to Liverpool and, bring them up and do. He can go to any other. I mean, when Liverpool sacked Brendan Rodgers, he went to Celtic and he came back to Leicester and he's done well since then. So there are many teams who are going to sack their managers pretty soon in the Premier League or outside also. I think Gerrard can do well. He was a good player. Let's hope that he can bring some charm back to the because this generation of English midfielders, whatever, who sucked at international tournaments, they're all doing well in one way or the other with Carragher and Gary Neville.
Don't forget Terry, defense.
Terry's doing well. Ferdinand's doing well in his thing. I think Lampard's been okay at Chelsea. It's just difficult at Chelsea for any manager. I don't want to paint Lampard separately for that. Every manager has struggled at a club like Chelsea.
Is that Karthik or does he have a parrot?
I mean, they went from a manager who won the Europa League with them, kept them third, to this guy who spent 200 million on a bunch of very good players, and I mean, what does he do? God only knows.
Wait, let me see where they're in the league.
They're about 8.
They were doing... oh wow, they're 9th.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. That's terrible. Clearly... but it's not that much of a difference. That's the problem.
But now it's slowly starting to become, right? With these two United clubs pulling away a bit. And Chelsea's god-awful form. Like, you can't trust them to really win anything. They're already 11 points off the top place, and they have played the same number of games. A lot of clubs below them, like Southampton, can go above them. Leeds can't. But
even Arsenal beat them.
3-1. So there you go. They are at Arsenal's level, wherever you consider that level currently. Yeah. Anyway, so I think we've spoken a fair deal about top clubs from the past few weeks. We didn't get to touch much about Spurs because both these guys have massive biases. One towards their manager and the other towards the club itself. But I'll still say Spurs.
Thank God you said biases.
Is that right or is it wrong? No, I don't know.
No, it's right. You started with massive, so I didn't know where you were going.
Oh, no. Yeah. But I'll still say they're in the title race. So we'll end the Spurs discussion there. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with Fantasy Premier League.
Namaskar, dear friends. My name is Ashish Vidyarthi. Life, as you know, is a journey. And you and I, travelers, how can we celebrate this travel? I have a podcast for you. Begin the journey. I share stories and moments from my life. Do tune in every Monday and Thursday to listen to my podcast on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Cheers.
Welcome back to Football Shootball, episode number added in post-production. Name Kalyug. Sivaram, you know the upcoming match days. I'm sure you've done enough of your research. Some teams, because in 2 weeks now, in the 2 subsequent weeks, we're going to have 4 match days. Yeah. And I think almost every club is going to play. Maybe there'll be one odd that probably doesn't. But how should we look at approaching this? Especially, and you have mentioned this before multiple times, many times what managers do is when they play a player in the midweek match, it means that he is not going to play at the weekend or is not going to at least start at the weekend.
Yeah, that's mostly City.
Mostly City.
And the hard part about City players is they have a fantastic run of games. They're playing West Brom next. After that, they play Sheffield and then they play Burnley before they play Liverpool and Spurs. So they have 3 fantastic game weeks where they can actually get a lot of points. With KDB out, who was possibly the sure starter after maybe Sterling. He was the only spot which was locked down, but now he's not. So I don't know who played yesterday. Thomas something, I forget his name. Some young kid, but I'm waiting to see who Pep actually picks against West Brom. So that might be, a high scoring game. Other than that, I think in the top teams. Spurs have a hard run with Liverpool and Chelsea in the next three. There's Everton, who are okay. They play Leicester, Newcastle and Leeds, but they've already dropped off that cliff wherever they were. What I would want to invest in is possibly Arsenal. Maybe you want to go back and look at Southampton a little bit. Because they have league goals in the past, especially when McCarthy was he was under COVID for a couple of weeks. So Arsenal play Southampton, then they play United, Wolves, and then Aston Villa, Leeds. So they have a decent run of games, and they have performed well. So this might be the time you might.
You know what? You're right. Wolves are not doing well at all, are they? Like
they're terrible. Yeah. I mean, they did buy a striker though. So when they said they put out a post saying welcome Willian, for a moment I thought Willian, we sold him, but no, it's a completely different Willian.
If I'm not mistaken, it's Willian Jose from Real Sociedad.
Yeah, Spurs fan also got excited with this welcome.
Yeah, but unfortunately, so that might change their fortune. I don't know, because they have someone up top. That Catrone doesn't get a shot at all. And when I was listening to the comms in the last game, they said he had basically ostracized him completely and he had no plans for him. Looks like he's called him back and then he's got a striker. So he said, so idhar hi baith mera, I still don't have a plan.
Yeah, which is weird. Now that only when you mention it just now, I heard that Willian Jose, who was decent for Sociedad, was linked with Wolves. But I thought when they got back Cutrone, that means it's done, right? Like you got back the striker that was on your books. That means he's going to play. But it's so bad now because they've treated Cutrone badly. It's not like he's great shakes anyway. And now it just makes the entire situation even worse.
Yeah, I mean, he reminds me of Parrott for Spurs. Like, he's rarely played. If he has played, we've been very unfortunate.
Okay. Sorry, again, I'm going to interrupt you. Sapre, interesting story. Troy Parrott, yeah, and this is for anyone listening in currently. Go read about his links to the Irish Mafia. I don't know if this will get me in trouble, but Troy Parrott has some connections.
Why would this get you into trouble? Just Google it. No? It's on Google. It's not what you said.
But I don't know. There's code of silence around. Who knows if I'm breaking it? You know, Omata.
Rajkumar.
Haven't you seen Godfather and any of these movies?
Italians are not real, Baba. Only movies.
So, but he has he's pretty connected with the Irish Mafia. So go and look that up.
Oh, we should. But I think, Siva, the teams that I'm looking forward to, honestly, it is Leicester. I know Vardy is out, but they are in form. They've got some decent matches. They've got Everton, they've got Leeds. They've got a tough fixture against Fulham. And then they have Wolves before they face Liverpool.
Hey, you snigger, but they did lose to Fulham the last time around.
I know, I'm being honest here. Fulham's been playing well and they can score, and if they can score early
but you're saying team to watch Leicester. I want to hold you to that simply because if there's one thing they lack, it's a replacement for Vardy. That Iheanacho still comes on and he just doesn't look the part.
Yeah, he's poor. He's what's going to happen to that Ryan Brewster also. So City striker he'll do well. Liverpool striker he'll do well.
Already happened.
Like, sad. Like over a number of seasons, just sad. But no, I think Leicester have enough other players who are fit.
Madison, Barnes,
playing well. Pratt doesn't get a chance. They're playing Albrighton there. NDD is back, so they're stable there in the midfield. Justin's doing well. I think who was the other Portuguese fullback that they had who's back, who played fantastically last season as well? Ricardo Pereira is now back.
He's been coming back from week 3. He's still not come back because Justin's cemented his spot.
No, but I'm saying even if they face injuries, they have a decent team.
Under. I just wanted to say the name.
Yeah, I don't know what. But I think Leicester is a team to look forward
to.
There's
also Aston Villa. Completely slipped on them. Burnley, Southampton, West Ham United, followed by Arsenal. So Grealish, he again got an assist, but Grealish is 1 yellow away from a 1-game ban. And you know how Grealish is to yellow cards. They are lower than...
And didn't Aston Villa almost get that result against City where some controversy happened over the last game week that we saw? Wasn't that Villa?
Yeah, the goal from... the pass from Rodri.
Yeah, where it was not considered. So they're playing well,
But good choice. But you know what? The better players to pick up from Aston Villa right now are in the defense. I think Martinez. With the teams that they are facing, not a lot of goals in them. Especially Burnley. So I don't know. Burnley also are tough to score against unless you're Man City. So target has been good for Villa as well for the past 4-5 weeks.
Last thing before I want to go into a really cool story about FPL. This happened over on Twitter the last week. Karthik, Fulham play Brighton and West Brom. Any chance we can pick on Anguissa?
Yeah, I'm looking at the score now. Yeah, you said 1-0. It's now 3-0 to Burnley, man.
Oh man.
To Burnley, I mean.
I didn't predict two goals in quick
He
succession.
just said Burnley don't score goals. It's 3-0 versus Fulham. Now this is...
Unless they're playing Fulham. Let me complete my statement.
I know why this is happening. Sivaram's favourite Michael Hector is playing in central defence.
No wonder that is happening. He must have scored one own goal. No, even Jay Rodriguez has scored 2 and assisted 1. I mean, that is how bad Fulham are.
Damn it. But anyway, so again, now I'm very biased. So going to your point, stay away from Fulham players. Just stay away. Yeah.
Maybe they rested their first team.
They're all
there.
They're all there. Many of them are there. Yangisa is there, except the defense. Like the first 11 maybe isn't there, but it's a pretty decent side out.
So I think my only advice for people who are looking to make changes to their FPL teams, don't jump into it very quickly because you are worried that price fall or price rise.
Deadline is 1.5 hours before. Start 1 hour 35 minutes before.
Correct.
Right.
Live life on the edge.
Live on the edge of it. That's my only advice.
I have this fun story that I don't know if you guys caught. But there is this pundit on the FPL show, which is the official FPL show by Premier League Productions. I think his name is Lee. And him and his wife, both are Premier League pundits. They're very into the sport. So for the double game week, which was a big deal in FPL, and everyone was trying to get tips out of everyone, they were, giving out tips. And you all seen the FPL show. It's pretty much like the podcast. They were giving out tips. And he said he was going to captain Salah. And his wife said she was going to captain Kane or something. So that happened. After the deadline passed, he basically put out a video saying, actually I lied. I had, I think, triple captain KDB or something. Because I wanted to basically throw my wife off the scent.
Whoa.
And this, I mean, it's in jest, I get it. I mean, it's like the husband-wife dynamic and it does well. And that's maybe one of the reasons they're on the show, because it's like a family feel for FPL. I get it. It makes for good content. But the fact that he's actually paid to sit there and give out his expert advice, and then he's playing these, tiny little family games and giving out advice that he actually doesn't follow himself, has gotten into trouble, at least with the FPL community. Now, the FPL community on Twitter is as flaky as they come. So, I just want to understand, you guys are not paid to do this podcast. So, by design, but you still give your full heart and soul. If you were paid and then you put out something to, let's say, mess with Sapre, Karthik, does that, is that ethical?
The moment you said that he lied on the show, especially over something that he says that he will do, and there may be at least thousands of followers who do the same thing because of him, I don't think it's the best. It's the best look, because I don't think they've gone the entire show actually giving out tips, right? Like this, I think maybe the first or the second instance where they have openly admitted to lying to throw someone else off their scent, as you put it. So I don't think that's a good look. The very first thought in my head came that he's fired. I'm glad that that's not happened. Because that would be a complete overreaction.
I don't think that's happened. Yeah. I haven't really seen the latest FPL show, but I'm sure there'll be a khulasa
because just today, I think a New York Times journalist was let go because she tweeted in support of Biden, saying, "I feel relieved that Biden's coming in." That's all she tweeted, and she was fired. So the way this world is, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm just hoping that it didn't happen to this chap. But it seems like, avoid such things. I would do it here, because I've lied enough, but nobody comes and has pissed me off because I don't think any of my predictions have ever come true. So
that's true. So people don't know if you're lying. Maybe they think you're just bad.
My point is, I am playing this character, let's call it that, where I'm not good at FPL. I may be very good. I may be very good in real life. Yeah, but I'm playing this klutz on this show. Remember that.
So when you say real life, Karthik, now that we're double clicking on this character, can you elucidate? What do you mean by real life?
No, what I mean is, I am here as the FPL dunce. And if you're smart enough, if you've listened to the episodes, you will know not to listen to Karthik Sayer's predictions unless you want a big differential and let's just go and buy Shane Long the rest of our lives. Since 3 years ago when he wasn't doing much.
He scored today. Just say, Karthik, so that makes you the Johnny Lever to our Bobby Deol and Akshay Kumar, basically.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, which movie, Karthik?
I'm going to guess Fir Bhi Dil Hai Hindustan.
That had Shah Rukh and Juhi Chawla, man. That was the first Brains Unlimited production, which was actually the production house started by Shah Rukh and Juhi Chawla. They starred in it.
Apna?
No, man. Ajnabi.
No. Oh, this I would never have got.
But everything was planned there.
Yeah, everything
So
was fine.
let's close this. How did you guys do this week? I know Karthik did phenomenally well by his standards. Karthik, let's start with
I'm
you.
actually a little disappointed that I didn't do slightly better. I went for that bench boost because thinking that this is the only time all my players are fit. But then I saw all your bench boosts. You all had double game week guys on bench boosts. Man, how do you all manage to take minus so many negatives and still get so much good points? I don't understand this.
कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ खोना पड़ता है, जानी.
But I think we are predicting right now when talking about get Madison and FPL scouts and the FPL show and Lee and his wife and everybody will talk about Madison. Karthik actually had Madison in the team.
Oh, fantastic. That's brilliant.
No, he did say, no, I didn't. I captained Mane and now Liverpool just seem to be, I don't know, in a different space altogether. But yeah.
Yeah, but I got Salah because I'm hoping that they'll score starting now.
Karthik got 87 points. Not bad, Karthik.
No, but I think both of you touched 100, right? If I'm not mistaken. I had a quick...
I don't think so. I think I just stopped short of 97.
And Sapre went above into the 3-digit mark.
But Sapre has now used all his chips.
Okay.
No,
it's just halfway through the...
I still have triple captain. I'm saying, look, this league, I don't know when it will end, with what's happening in UK especially.
Yeah.
With injuries, etc. It's like game in hand, right? I mean, you have on paper, you can win that game and you can go on top, but you have to still win it.
Yeah.
It depends. If it's United's game in hand or City's game in hand, that is what comes into play.
I think it was the right opportune moment for me to use my...
You're basically so desperate, you're saying COVID is the only thing that's going to save my FPL season.
And I'm going to get United to win the league probably.
Stop the count basically is what you're saying.
Stop the count, yeah. Before they ban me off Twitter, let me put that out.
Nice.
No, I did well. I got 227 points, but I also used bench boost. So I'm in the
top. You're in the top 50, right?
Yeah, I'm 43rd now in the Football Shootball League.
Not bad at all.
Oh wow, I'm just like...
You see how Sapre keeps a track when he's doing well.
Yeah.
No, I always keep a track. No.
Like a typical United fan.
I'm in these benchmarks. If I'm like 100 to 150, then I don't really care.
I'm waiting to tell Karthik that.
I just realized my boxers are... and I'm wearing like matching...
Lovely behind the scenes that no one asked for.
Wearing matching t-shirt and boxers. Usually you should contrast, right? But yeah.
I mean, ideally you shouldn't go out with just boxers.
No.
I mean, the fashion faux pas is a step after.
Okay, so I think, is there anything else? We're good with fantasy, we're good with what happened.
We're good. Do we want to touch upon, actually shouldn't because I'm a little sentimental about it. Milan lost to Atlanta with 3 goals.
So it's what, their second defeat and 3 now. They lost to Juve as well. But the thing, Sapre, is that they're still top of the table because Inter drew as well.
2 points between them and Inter.
Yeah.
So
that's hard. But they have Ibrahimovic back finally. In the previous match, he scored a couple of goals. So that, and they brought in Mandzukic, who's pretty useful as well. Atlanta are a different league, man. I mean, this club is something else.
Abhi was saying they're fallen off their perch and now they've beat 3-0, then they suddenly
No, to be fair, I said that 3 months ago during the Champions League campaign. Yeah, in the last few weeks, they've gotten themselves back into title contention. So they've come back. They've bounced back from their early season.
I'm really excited about Syria. I want you to continue talking about
early season troubles. No, that's it. Otherwise, Pirlo is Seria's version of Lampard, like Sapre and I said. It's that he's even worse actually. He didn't even have a 1-year managerial apprenticeship, whatever that's called, before getting his job.
But isn't he the assistant manager? He's reporting to Ronaldo.
Dotted line.
Chelsea Lamps has to report to probably Giroud. They don't have anybody else in that team.
And I think lastly also, I think we shouldn't leave today without having Sivaram's thoughts on Conor McGregor's return to the octagon, which was previewed by Lionel Messi in the Super Cup final.
So what happened? I just know he got knocked out. He lost.
When Messi knocked someone else out, right? When he got that red card.
That's what you mean. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. Sorry, I did not completely catch that.
That was pretty good if you think about it.
No, that is, now that I think about it, is very good. But you were talking about Syria before that. So I was already on to my next podcast.
No, he went to Ronaldo. So I thought if you say Ronaldo, we have to say Messi because that's in our contract, right? So
I mean, yeah, but that's not in FIFA's contract. They left him out of the
yeah.
Shape of the Earth.
Oh, they did.
My God.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious. What has he done except put people out of WhatsApp and out of their senses? But good right hook, huh? I mean, if anyone who can take Conor McGregor's spot and can he speak English? I don't know. What do they text on WhatsApp in Spanish?
Okay, to be fair, when Conor McGregor speaks in what he calls English, I'll give you $100 if you can tell me every word that he says.
He's like Carragher. Which is why I asked you that question. Like, can you understand what he says? I mean, same like Messi, right?
Yeah.
So, but fantastic right hook for everyone who hasn't seen it. Just text me or ping me on Twitter. I will send you that GIF myself. I'm so involved in that right hook because, I mean, a lot of people who supported Barcelona said he got really frustrated. So it is on some level justified. So, I mean, that is a very convenient and incredibly harmful way of thinking. I don't think you should think like that. वरना बिग बॉस में तो लोग रोज डरते रहते हैं ना सप्रे क्या बोलते हैं
बिग बॉस का टाइम हो गया completely lost track of time.
All right, so it's Kalyug for Sapre over the next 1.5 hours, and Sivaram and I will go and watch Liverpool versus Manchester United.
It's not Kalyug, it's weekend ka var.
Weekend ka var, yeah. Okay.
Salman Khan comes and talks.
Right. Oh yeah, correct. That's brilliant. Yeah, good content.
Okay, on that note.
Bye-bye.
So if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media handles. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I'm Fickleberry Hun on Twitter and Instagram. That's Huckleberry Finn, but Fickle.
If you want to reach out to me, I am Sapre on Twitter and Sapre on Instagram.
You can reach out to me at iRant, which is IYERANT on Twitter and Instagram. This is Football Shootball. Recognize.
Come learn and experience the ABCDs of being queer with me, Shunetro,
and me, Farhad,
on our show, Gay BCD.
The two of us take you through our stories and experiences of being gay men in the city of Mumbai and have candid
and sometimes downright scandalous
conversations about sexuality, gay culture, and everything in between.
Catch new episodes of Gay BCD every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get all your podcasts from.
If you love cricket, listen up. The Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast is here for you. Hosted by DJ, Varun, and me, Ashwin, we bring a fun, fresh fan's point of view to talking all things cricket. Sometimes it's just the three of us, sometimes we have guests, including current and former international cricketers. For new episodes every week, check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast on the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcasts.